from shadow, sealed in truth, ancient blood, but faith rooted proof. History whispers, legends pretend. She chose the light where darkness ends. Eyes that see what most can't find. Gift of foresight, disciplined mind. Cross held steady, heart on guard. Truth cuts clean when nights get hard. She reads the silence, feels the room. Past and present start to bloom. Fear don't live where faith stands firm. Another veil about to burn. Welcome to the deeper dimension, where darkness meets divine intervention. Royal blood, but heaven sent. She don't flinch at what's being mentioned. From cold cases to restless minds, she pulls the truth from broken time. Grace and steel, intuition. Step inside the deeper dimension.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
So yeah, welcome to another
Hello,
fine edition.
everybody,
Yep.
and welcome. Yes, it's a beautiful edition, beautiful group of people. I must say thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's gonna be amazing show. We do have a lot of things to share today. We have videos. We have some of the paranormal investigation. We have Rabbi Roshtal with us as a special guest who will share some of his experience, knowledge, and the research when it's coming from the UFO studies and paranormal. I must say, I'm pretty happy to have my co host, Donnie Cho. Welcome. Miss Sue, welcome. And Paul Del Roberts, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start this show. I think it's gonna be quite amazing. Hour and a half. We will finish at 7:30. So, and let's start the show on the road. I'm quite excited. Paul, I know you prepare a lot of materials for today. Would you like to start, sir?
Oh, thank you so much, Danielle. And yeah, tonight's going to be a very exciting show because one, the rabbi is going to talk about alien abductions. I love that topic. So I can't wait to talk about that. I provided Donnie Cho with a photograph of the Marysville Hotel. And the Marysville Hotel had a terrible fire. And this hotel's been around since the 1800s. You had some murders, I think a couple murders in that hotel. Um, One suicide where a person jumped from one of the windows and down into the sidewalk. Um, Terrible tragedies happened there, and they actually closed down the hotel, and someone set it on fire. And out of the one of the windows, there looks like a full body apparition looking out the window. Can we look at that, Donnie? Oh, there it is. So if you can see that, um, the fire's right behind this apparition, and it looks like a person looking out the window. Yeah. So I know. So everybody has a chance looking at it. Everyone becomes a ghost hunting analyst, and you can analyze this photograph. Is that a ghost, or what do you think it is? And we'll wait for the comments. And um, while we're waiting for the comments, Donnie Cho has a video where we investigated an asylum. It was the hospital for the feeble minded. And at this hospital, if anybody's ever heard of the Philadelphia experiment, some of the sailors from the Philadelphia experiment actually stayed at this insane asylum. And Donnie, can you show the video?
witness were performed by professionals. The cast and producers must insist that no one attempt to recreate any activities seen.
With the Philadelphia experiment, this is what the Army did with the USS Eldridge. And what they were trying to do is teleport a ship in the Atlantic Ocean to another part of the Atlantic Ocean. And the rumor is that they were successful. A green mist actually engulfed the ship. It actually vanished and teleported into another part of the Atlantic. And some of the people on this ship were actually infused into the ship's hull. And so like their torso and their head was sticking out of the hull. And the survivors sent over to the insane asylum over in Sonoma. So the place is supposed to be extremely haunted.
Let's do this.
1943, the government did an experiment using the Tesla coil as a generator, a generator that uses static electricity in the mental asylum that we're going to visit today. It was so small and remote, it was a very good place to stash the 46 to 48 survivors of the Philadelphia experiment. This particular plaque right here, this thing for the fountain, there used to be a fountain here and the water came out there. And if I was a person who was insane, that's like the last thing I'd want to look at.
Ugly.
And it's a high state of the art Renaissance dolphin, but it's this thing I wouldn't put in front of my asylum. I mean, that could be nightmares right there. They did a lot of experiment with radiation in the bloodstream there. A lot of, they numbered the patients. They called them specimen number 89235. Yeah, it's really upsetting. And the grave, their cemetery there, they burn everybody. And it's very hard to find markers for almost anybody that was there.
That's what I'm saying. That's an altar. What? It's an altar. It's an altar.
right at the end, they said that they got an EVP right behind the door. That EVP, what you were hearing were the sounds of, it sounded like people screaming. That was a real EVP. Of course, I do a lot of entertainment part of it, and try to make it funny and stuff like that. But that was the real sounds that they got from that basement. Um, the orbs that they were trying to utilize, try to say that was paranormal. There was so much dust down there. I believe those were just dust orbs. Um, some people, something like 75 people showed up, and some people actually, when they were taking pictures, were getting full body apparitions. And they were so excited that they took these pictures.
Wow.
They became very possessive of them, and they said, "We don't want to share it." They thought they could probably make $1 million from their apparition photo. But yeah, that place is very, very haunted. Um, and those are some of the results that we got from it.
Nice.
Wow. I must say it was quite entertaining. I really did enjoy it. It made
Had a
me
lot of
smile a couple times. I had to play around and make too much noise, so I'm like, okay, let me run back. And as I was doing that, I liked. I think was quite fun and exciting. I think it's important for people to have fun. Life is too short, you guys. And also, I like the scientific part of it. So when you guys watch this video, this is for the panel and everybody that did join us. Welcome, everybody, and we are so glad that you're capable of joining us this evening. Um, Basically, what are your thoughts? We can start from first our guest, Mr. Rabbi, and then we can go to Sonny and Mr. Donnie. So to see what you guys think when you did see like real evidence that we just seen that Mr. Paul was presenting.
Well, the first picture that we saw, which was that perhaps figure in the window, I can't necessarily, yeah, that one. I can't necessarily make out exactly what's going on there. So I will refrain from commenting on what I actually think that is. But any kind of evidence that we get is, I feel, very important, whether it is something in actuality or even just something that someone wants to contribute and they don't necessarily know the origins. So whatever we can get, I think, is really important. As for the video that we saw, I don't know enough about the technology that's being used with that EVP technology, or the its calibration, to really be able to comment on its veracity. However, the Philadelphia experiment is something that I've always found fascinating, or have as long as I've known about it. And I really feel that there's
Mhm.
something there that isn't really discussed too much by the United States Navy. And I've heard the story about the green gas that overtook the USS Eldridge, and um, basically the the overall the overall spookiness, for lack of a better term, is something that's always interested me, especially the idea of the figures or the people being stuck in the hull, and being able to perhaps uh, transport a huge ship from one area to another, I think would be of interest to the military. As for whether the people who were transferred from the USS Eldridge to that location um, are haunting it, I can't really comment on that, especially because I'm not familiar with the technology all that much. However, the overall idea of the USS Eldridge and perhaps something being done using some type of technology, perhaps that may have allowed for the teleportation of a ship, is something that's always been of interest to me. And if it wasn't done in 1943, Is this something that has been done since? So I'd love to hear everyone else's opinion on the matter.
It's kind of interesting with the
Thank
Philadelphia
you for
experiment.
sharing your thoughts. Donnie and Miss Sue, who would like to go first?
Well, I think Paul was speaking. We should let Paul go ahead.
It's okay. Well, he was talking about the green gas,
Oh, okay.
and you would also too. A lot of people call it the green mist, and it seems like anytime you have a time slip, the green mist appears. Um, like the case over in Versailles, France, where the two old ladies they walked into the garden and they were teleported from I don't know the 1930s to the Renaissance era, um, and they saw a green mist. And as soon as that green mist dissipated,
Mm-hmm.
we're experiencing a time slip. So same thing with the Philadelphia experiment. This green mist came in, and all kinds of things were happening. It's supposed to teleport, but it
Oh,
winds up turning invisible where they couldn't see it. Then it reappears, and also too, uh, people were claiming that the USS Eldridge appeared in different other locations throughout the United States. So that's a very mysterious topic.
Well, whenever you actually do any kind of teleportation or travel, you can't leave echoes of your activity. It's very possible that that's why they're seeing the ships in different places.
that's
It's not really a one and
quite
done thing. It's
interesting. Donnie or Sue, forgive me.
Sorry, Sue was speaking. Go
and that's
ahead.
okay, Donnie. If you want to go, I can talk
No, no,
later.
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Um,
I was just.
sorry, but I I have heard about the Philadelphia experiment. I even seen the movie, and seen how the ship when it phases out, and the phasing out thing is more of not so much even as a time travel, but even a location travel of going to point A to point B, and they were experimenting whether they could strategically move a ship if they were in battle, for example, if they could move from one point to another, maybe to take an advantage of an enemy. That was one of the objectives. Um, Apparently, the experiment didn't completely work out the way they planned, but there has been a lot of hiccups and reactions and side effects from it throughout time.
Oh, Danielle disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh, and also too, like I was saying about the Versailles, France incident with those two ladies, um, they felt like they were ghosts in when they did the time slip. They were like ghosts. Um, they could not interact with any of the people in this time slip. So that way they couldn't change time because they're ghosts in that time period.
Time is actually an interesting topic for me
Wow,
because
that's
time
quite
actually will correct itself.
Hmm.
interesting. Very, very interesting. What do you think, Donnie?
Well, I always thought the Philadelphia experience was one of the more interesting ones. It was one of the first ones I got into when I got into this whole field or this topic. It's just really freaky. I love time travel stories.
No.
I want to believe they're true. I do. It's one of those things that you don't know if it's true because there's not much out there in terms of corroboration. But it's one of those stories that you wish were true, real bad, or that you hope is true. It's out there somewhere. So I reserve my judgment
Yeah,
while offering the
yeah.
asterisk that yeah,
Makes
I wish it was true.
sense. Hmm.
The video was very, very haunting. All those pictures and stuff, you could pick up all the energies from there.
Yeah.
You know, many people when talk about experiments, I think about the things that are being done in labs, hidden, secret, and sometimes people are involved, like we know, unfortunately. And I wonder, do we as humans think that should be a line between the experiments that we cannot control? Because it's obvious that Philadelphia experiment to me went out of control. They didn't know pretty much what they were doing at the end. It was just something I think that they were not ready for, and it's that's why I think it's quite freaky. And I also, it reminds me of Montauk project. I personally did a lots of research and study there. I've been there, um, and it makes me wonder what else is done that will bring us to these, like you're saying, different times, time travelers, use of LSD, for example, at different places, brainwashing and things like that. Maybe connection with UFO, like Rabbi is very interested in, because we know that many of the scientists were working on a connection with UFO. Then we have some people are also saying, as they were abducted, that they were actually chosen by government itself, these programs, saying that they were almost like a guinea pigs, you know. So I'm wondering, if we go deeper with this poll, what do you think? Why did research stop? Why didn't continue further?
Well, the research may have continued on. Um, as I used to be with
Hmm.
military intelligence, and there was a lot of
Yes.
secretive projects where people thought, well, okay, I got one right here. Project Blue Book shut down in 1969. Well, during my time, 1981, where I was with the 501st Military Intelligence Battalion, they were still investigating UFOs because UFO photographs, six of them, came into the office. And my job was just to give it a number. So in 1981, they were still investigating UFOs when they said they shut it down in 1969 with Project Blue Book. So, um, whatever the government tells you that we're not interested, we're not investigating it, it could be bull, you know what? It could just be a downright lie. We see with politics, there's lies all the time. So you just got to get kind of used to it. And also, too, when we're talking about the green mist, that was the Moberly Jourdain incident, and they went to the Palace of Versailles, and they said they were like the ghosts in that time slip where people could not interact with them. So
Oh.
if this is true, we cannot change time because if we go back in time, we become the ghosts. And so, and they
Oh.
walked into that green mist. They were in that time slip. They went back into, they even saw Marie Antoinette in that time slip. So that was kind of interesting. And when
Wow.
the green mist came back, they walked back into it. They were back in their own time period. So that's a very interesting story. So I don't know what you guys think about it.
Didn't Tesla invent some sort of time machines or
The
something?
time
Because I
traveling,
remember,
yeah, sorry, go see. Yes.
Tesla invented stuff that had to do with time traveling. I remember Donald Trump's uncle got a hold of all those blueprints and the plans and all that to it, and we questioned on whether any of the Trump family members did time travel because of all. There's a book on Baron. that was very similar to Baron Trump. There's things out there that just kind of find it impossible, but there's correlations of what was in the past, and then also the things and events that are happening now have already been announced beforehand. So how did they know? So I think time travel has been done successfully as well.
Yeah, and Tesla was involved with all kinds of stuff, time travel, everything
I
else.
agree.
And that's why when he died, the FBI came into his apartment and confiscated all his documents, all of them. And probably somewhere in a secret place at the National Archives, you would probably find Tesla's papers.
Yes, Project Looking Glass. Yep.
Yep.
Project Looking Glass was more of the psychic side of it. They had a whole bunch of psychics that they basically trained and hired to. They have enough psychic ability that they can look through the future. And we had between the black hats and the white hats. The black hats, the bad guys, the bad actors, had it for a very long time, and that's why we suffered for a long time. And then somehow the white hats, not too long ago, just recently got their hands on it, and so now they've been using it to kind of push the playbook in a different direction.
That's quite interesting. I must say, I know a lot about Nikola Tesla, of course. And before I came to Canada, we had to study about him. He was part of our history and study, and as he comes from Europe and all of it. But there is a mystery there about many of his scientific research studies and projects that disappear. You're mentioning Mr. Donald Trump and possibility of getting the blueprints. Is it possible? It's quite possible because now money and the power comes everywhere, so it's possible to purchase some of the like you're saying, the blueprints, and just develop them further on. But Nikola was a genius himself, as we know, and we are using even his technology up today. But he did also did something that it's quite amazing, because I know, Rabbi, I'm sure you know about this, and I would like to know your opinion about that. They said he did connected aliens and he was capable of communicating with them. What do you think about that?
Well, from everything that I know, uh, the alien connection with Tesla may have some truth to it. Um, the idea, perhaps, that his invention of, along with Marconi and extraterrestrial radio signals, may be something that may have some veracity. Um, he was conducting high frequency experiments in Colorado Springs around the turn of the 20th century. And as I understand, he detected some type of unusual repeated rhythmic signals with his equipment. And he felt that these were not random, but perhaps structured
Yes.
messages, perhaps from intelligent beings, perhaps from another planet. And I think in an
Yes.
article, he is described as um, these rhythmic noises or atmospheric noises as the greeting of one planet to another. Whether this is true, it's certainly a nice tale. And aside from that, I'm certainly not an expert in all of Tesla's accomplishments, but that is some information that I can share.
Thank you. Um, I also do agree with you. I think there was some kind of connection. I'm not an expert, neither I'm a physicist or astrophysicist, but I do believe him being such a genius and having such a high IQ that he was capable of, connecting with them. They also say, Misu, Donnie, and Paul, I'm sure you heard about this, that people that do have high intelligence level, that almost they vibrate a different kind of energy and signals, so that they do connect with outer space or different kind of intellectual beings. So basically, That's probably why we see, for example, some of the mathematicians, some of these scientists that we're mentioning, like Stephen Hawkins, for example, was one of my favorites. The reason why I did admire him, I think he was approachable and he was capable to explain things to the simplicity, that we can understand what's happening out there. What is the Big Bang? Or what is the big collider? How we can travel the time? And I really do miss him, and I really do have in my possession some of his books, and I wish he's still alive so he can teach us more. Um, but I also do think that what you're mentioning, Paul, that even now that time traveling is possibly happening with all these scientific research and studies. Did I seen it? No. Did I experience it? No. Of course, but I do think that energy cannot be ended. So is it possible that they use the energy and transfer of the energy back and forth, because energy cannot be created nor destroyed? So it's possible that they're transferring it from one dimension to another.
Well, Doctor Who even mentioned that time travel is not linear from point A to point B. It's kind of a wibbly wobbly, timey wimey sort of thing. But I mean, we have stuff like deja vu, we have Mandela effects. We always wonder if they were in question lined up with time traveling of some sort. Deja vu would be a personal time travel, and Mandela effect would be something that, that affects all of us.
You know what's kind of interesting too about this time travel thing? If there was anything that
True.
if there was anything that was really solid evidence of time travel, that would be the Rendlesham Forest UFO time traveling story, in which the military witnessed these lights out in the forest, and one of the soldiers touched the craft because he saw some writing on it, and then the
Oh.
binary code entered his mind, and what it was telling him, that the entities in this UFO came from the year 8100, that these aliens were us in the future. So if there's anything that could be a very solid time traveling evidence case, it would be from Rendlesham Forest UFO.
If I may interject, there are perhaps multiple ways to time travel as well. At least from a physics standpoint, there's just using high speeds, time dilation. Basically, under Einstein's theory of special relativity, the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time
Yes.
relative to stationary observance. So, real world example of this: GPS satellites that orbit Earth at something like 14,000 kilometers per hour experience time slightly slower than clocks on the ground. So, if a human traveled to a distant star at nearly the speed of light and returned, decades or centuries would pass on Earth while they might only age a few years. Another perhaps may happen also under Einstein's general relativity. Time moves slower in stronger gravitational fields. So, the idea that time ticks marginally faster for satellites in space, where Earth's gravity is weaker compared to objects on the ground, if you were to spend time near a massive high gravity object like a black hole, you would age much slower than the rest of the universe, effectively jumping into the future upon return. It's also been discussed, perhaps via wormholes, certainly theoretical, but wormholes basically theoretical bridges or
Mhm.
shortcuts across space and time. If a traversable wormhole were found, physicists have hypothesized that you could manipulate one end to experience time dilation perhaps with a strong gravitational field, and walking through would allow you to step out. and then perhaps other types, quantum or informational time travel. So the thought that we only have perhaps one way of time traveling may be somewhat limited. There may be multiple ways to do it, and the case that Paul has referenced has been fascinating to me as well. And I've heard certainly within ufology that some of the beings that have visited Earth perhaps could be from the future. Maybe they're using one of the ways that I just discussed in time traveling. Maybe they have some type of ship that can do it, or maybe it's something that we haven't even even really hypothesized as of yet.
Wow, quite interesting. I agree. I don't know, but what Paul did share, it is quite fascinating. Like I'm saying, I do believe that there is time traveling happening at this moment, that our scientists and researchers did come, like Rabbi is saying, far away from just a theory, and that they're probably practicing it maybe once a month, maybe even daily. Who knows? It would be quite cool to be here and there and check out what will happen in the future or in the past. But also, Paul, when you did all of those researches and studies, what did make you, for example, pick this theme for today? What did call you to go, like, I want to go into Philadelphia case and discuss this?
Well, um, with my situation, as a little boy, I lived in a haunted house. All kinds of terrible things happened to me. So I wanted, when I got a little bit older, I wanted to know if that was real. Uh, uh, what I was experiencing, was it real, or was it just childhood nightmares? So I started reading books on the paranormal by Brad Steiger, and then
Hmm.
getting interested in more stuff like, oh wow, Charity of the Gods by Eric von Daniken. So I just started reading all this stuff about the paranormal because I want to know what happened to me when I was a child. So um, my whole life just kind of went down that path, and I never knew I was going to become a paranormal investigator. And when I went into the army the second time around, I was talking to the recruiter, and it was after I saw a James Bond movie. And I said, what is it that these military intelligence guys do? And before I knew it, the recruiter sold it to me. I was on the dotted line, and bam, there I was. I was headed down the paranormal investigating.
Ah,
Yeah, so yeah. But anyway, what I wanted to ask the rabbi is, I done some cases on alien abductions, and the rabbi has some
hmm,
thoughts about that, and I'd like to hear his thoughts.
Most certainly. So, if you don't mind, I'd like to go through
please, we will
a,
love to hear
a,
it.
a timeline of major alien abduction cases,
Hmm.
generally from 1957 to 1994, and we
Please
can
go
talk
ahead.
about certainly we can talk about why we don't hear about them so
Mhm.
much in the mainstream, perhaps thereafter, because that's certainly a question that I have. But the first major alien abduction case that made the press is from Antonio Villas Boas case. This happened October 15th, 1957, near Sao Francisco de Sales, Minas Gerais, Brazil. Antonio Villas Boas, he was a 23-year-old farmer. He was working late at night plowing fields on his family's farm. Because of the summer heat, farmers often worked after sunset. His initial sighting, he noticed what appeared to be a bright red star. The object seemed unusually bright and appeared to move toward him. As it approached, he realized it was not a star. The object descended toward the field, and his description of the craft, it was egg shaped, metallic in appearance. It rested on three landing legs. It had a rotating red light on top, and it emitted a bright glow. The capture, Boas attempted to flee on his tractor. Four humanoid beings emerged. They chased him through the field. They physically grabbed him and carried him aboard. His description of the beings was that they were about 5 feet tall. They wore gray coveralls. They had helmet like headgear, blue eyes, no understandable speech. They communicated through barking and growling sounds, which is different than what we hear in some of the other aliens who used telepathy, perhaps. The inside of the craft had
Mhm.
metallic corridors, strange red symbols on the wall, strong chemical odor, and bright lighting without visible light fixtures. There was a medical examination that was conducted. His clothing was removed. Blood was drawn from his chin. His entire body was inspected. Strange instruments were used. And then there was a female humanoid encounter. Gas was released into the room. An attractive female humanoid entered. She had blonde hair, blue eyes, high cheekbones, large cat like eyes. And Boas claimed they engaged in sexual intercourse. The female afterward pointed to her abdomen, to him, and then to the sky. He believed she was indicating she would bear a hybrid child. After his release, he was returned to the field
Mhm.
several hours later. The craft descended rapidly, and he disappeared into the night sky. It disappeared into the night sky. The historical importance of this is it's often considered the first modern alien abduction case, and it introduced reproductive themes later common in abduction reports. The next major case that occurred was the
Wait, wait,
Betty
wait,
Bar-
Rabbi, can I stop you right
Absolutely, go
there?
ahead.
Okay, okay, I'm very familiar with that case. There's one part that you left out. He was looking at a calendar and he saw the picture of this girl and he goes, "Oh my God, that was the alien girl that I made love to." Come to find out, they went into his
Wow.
they went into his mind and they got the image of this woman that he saw on the calendar, and he thought he was making love to a beautiful woman from that calendar, when in fact what they did, they projected that image of the beautiful woman when actually she probably looked like an alien.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
That's
I'm ready
quite
for
interesting.
Most
the
Amazing.
certainly.
I'm
Most
ready for
certainly.
Go
the
ahead,
next
Rabbi.
production story.
Absolutely. Most certainly. Thank you. And anyone who has anything, please feel free to add. The next major abduction story that occurs is the Betty and Barney Hill case. This occurred September 19th to 20th, 1961, in the
Hmm.
White Mountains of New Hampshire, United States. Betty and Barney Hill, their background, they were a married couple returning from vacation to Canada. They were driving through rural New Hampshire at night. An interesting aspect of this is they were an interracial couple when that was not the norm. There was an initial sighting. Betty noticed a bright light. It appeared to move independently of the stars. The object followed their vehicle for many miles. The close encounter was Barney stopped the car. He viewed the object through binoculars. He claimed he saw a large disc shaped craft, rows of windows, humanoid figures looking directly at him. One figure appeared to be a leader, and then there was a period of missing time where they returned home much later than expected. Approximately 2 hours went unaccounted. Their watches stopped working. Betty's dress was damaged. An interesting part of this is that these aliens, for as intelligent as they were, could not seemingly figure out a zipper. They tore her dress without just pulling the zipper down, which seemingly would to us would be pretty easy to do. And then Barney's shoes were unusually
Hmm.
scuffed. They had scuffs on the tops of the toe box, essentially, in the idea that like he was dragged with his feet, the top of his shoes actually dragging onto the ground. During hypnotic recall years later, they both underwent hypnosis. One other thing I want to say to this: immediately thereafter, Betty and Barney Hill contacted some people who were close to them, and they noticed that there was something on the back of the car, and they did some testing on it, basically on the trunk, and noticed that it perhaps may have had some type of alien radiation or some sort, and this connects to
Hmm.
in their story. Betty and Barney Hill heard a huge thump on their trunk, but Whether that's accurate, who knows? But during hypnotic recall, years later, they both underwent hypnosis. Their description of the beings, there were large wraparound eyes, gray skin, hairless heads, thin noses, small mouths, and uniform like clothing. Aboard the craft, Betty's account was she was escorted through corridors. She met a leader figure. She was placed on an examination table. Hair samples were taken. Skin samples were taken. A needle was inserted into her abdomen. Barney's account, he was separated from Betty. He was subjected to medical examination. Body measurements were recorded. A cup like device was placed on his body. A star map was discussed by Betty. She claimed that she was shown a three-dimensional star chart. She later drew the map from memory. Some UFO researchers have associated it with the Zeta Reticuli system, and the historical importance is this created the modern gray alien archetype, and it became the template for most later abduction reports. So before we move on, this is one of the more famous cases. Does anyone have any further insight or comments on it?
Yeah, with the star
I did
map.
a lot of research. Sorry. Sorry, go ahead. I'll go after. It's okay. You
Oh,
go ahead.
oh no, 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 no. With the star map. Um,
No,
uh,
no, please.
oh,
Yes, go ahead.
uh,
Yes.
with the star map, if I recall right, um, there was like two stars that she placed on the map that weren't discovered yet. And it wasn't until like 10 years later that those stars were discovered. And they were CE3 suns, which are the right type of suns for a planet to support life. So that was kind of interesting that she was able to create this star map and place two suns that didn't even exist at the time. And it wasn't until 10 years later that they discovered, oh my God, she was right. There are two suns there.
That's correct, and I know that to be
Yes, and
accurate as
yeah,
well.
yeah, and what I wanted to add about that, it's the same what you're saying, Paul. And at that time, they were making fun of them, especially like they were biracial couples. So many more ridiculous and really inappropriate stories were coming out. And then when basically the map came out to be accurate by these top scientists and the researchers, they were kind of just stoned and they couldn't believe what they were disclosing. And another thing, when you said they were taking the samples of their skin, and you said that they were capable of hearing things, but they were not capable of answering back. That they were basically paralyzed, but they felt a lot of pain while they were doing this. Basically, medical testing on them. So you are paralyzed, but you can still feel the things, but it's kind of horrible. So yeah,
And
that's
Barney
what I
Hill,
wanted.
when they placed Barney Hill on self regressive hypnosis, I mean, he was screaming, no, no, don't stop, stop. I mean, he was actually really screaming in that
Yes.
hypnotic session that he had.
Yeah.
And to the people who may claim, oh, they did this for fame or oh, they did this for money, they never made any real money on this at all. If anything, it cost them money. Barney was a post office mail carrier and would only go on to live a few more years or so. Betty continued to be a researcher for the remainder of her life and lived a longer period of time, but neither of them ever had a major Hollywood movie from which they benefited directly, where they made millions of dollars or huge amounts of books. They really generally lived uh, pretty regular lives thereafter. So, for people who think that they may have been able to cash in on this event, that doesn't seem to be accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. The next
And I will
question.
be right back.
Go ahead. Absolutely. The next topic or the next case is Herbert Schirmer. This happened December 3rd, 1967, in Ashland, Nebraska, in the United States. Herbert Schirmer He was a local police officer on patrol. His initial encounter was he saw red lights hovering over a highway. He approached to investigate. His description of the craft was it was oval shaped, it had a white lower section, flashing red lights, and it hovered silently. He had a humanoid encounter. One being emerged, and he described it to be about 5 feet 10 inches tall, pale skin, slanted eyes, thin lips, tight fitting uniform, winged serpent emblem on its chest, and he had telepathic communication. The being allegedly spoke directly into his mind. It ordered him to remain calm. He had missing time. Approximately 20 minutes vanished. He had recovered
Wow.
memories. Under hypnosis, Shermer claimed he entered the craft, saw several crew members. He learned they maintained hidden bases under Earth's oceans. He was told humanity was being monitored. The craft interior, it was a circular room, colored lights, molded seats, and no visible controls. So it's he was an officer of the law, trusted within that society.
Mhm.
Certainly wouldn't necessarily want to risk that, but that was his encounter. Does anyone have anything to add, or would like to have further discussion on that?
Nope, it's okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, we'll move on to the next one. This is the Pascagoula incident. This happened October 11th, 1973, along the Pascagoula River in Mississippi, United States. This involved Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker. The background is they were fishing after work along the riverbank. The initial event, they heard a buzzing sound. Bright blue lights illuminated the area. The description of the craft, it was an oval object approximately 30 feet across. It hovered silently. Their description of the entities, among the strangest ever reported, they were around 5 feet tall, wrinkled gray skin, no visible neck, a slit like mouth. They had pointed ears, claw like appendages. They floated instead of walking. The witnesses repeatedly described them as robotic, and the abduction was both men reportedly became paralyzed. They floated into the craft. Under examination, they encountered a floating machine resembling a giant eye. The device moved around them. It scanned their bodies with no visible operator. The aftermath, the sheriff secretly recorded the men. He recorded, uh, the recording captured genuine sounding fear and confusion, and the case remains one of the most unusual in UFO history. Any further additions to that one?
Yeah, I saw the pictures of those aliens, and they did have claw-like appendages. So yeah, it was weird. I mean, I really think they could have probably been robots.
They
Hmm.
sounded like they were robotic in appearance to some extent. Um, One thing I'd like to add to the Betty and Barney Hill incident that I just recalled, Betty and Barney Hill said that there was a leader, like being that had, I think, perhaps different headgear than the other beings on the craft. And before Betty left the craft, she was shown a book that she asked to take with her so that she could prove what happened. And the leader initially said that she could take it, but
Mhm.
then after discussion with the other beings, they took it back. And Betty, to her essentially throughout all of her memories, always regretted that she wasn't able to take that book. And if anybody's had the opportunity to see the star map that she's drawn, it is somewhat primitive, but it is quite interesting that she may have been shared some type of information that we don't currently have. And certainly she was made aware of a star system 39 light years approximately away, Zeta Reticuli, that did have two stars that was not previously known. So I think that's just absolutely fascinating. The
And
next
Rabbi,
case, go ahead.
oh wait, Rabbi, there was a very famous alien abduction that happened in Arizona, and I talked to the abductee, and you probably know his name. His name is Travis Walton.
Oh, we're getting there.
I got to talk to him over the telephone. Very nice gentleman. I got a lot of information for one of my articles through Travis Walton.
Excellent. Well,
Oh, okay.
we're gonna review that case in just a moment. So, um, I want to hear everything that you had to discuss with him. So excellent. We have firsthand encounter of someone who had who discussed this one of the cases with one of the individuals. So that's great. The next case was Carl Higdon. This happened October 25th, 1974, near Rawlins, Wyoming, United States. Carl Higdon, the initial event, he was hunting elk in remote wilderness. He fired a rifle. The strange occurrence occurred where the bullet appeared frozen in midair and the environment became unnaturally silent. The alien appearance was a tall being suddenly appeared. The description was over 6 feet tall, yellow skin, large eyes, sparse hair, no visible chin. The being identified itself as Ausso One, AUSSO space ONE. The craft was had transparent walls, strange interior lighting, no visible machinery. The information given was the being allegedly explained that there were numerous inhabited worlds that existed. Earth is observed by extraterrestrials. Interstellar travel is routine for them. And his return, he later found himself far from where he began, and he experienced memory gaps and confusion. Does anyone have anything further they'd like to contribute on that case?
No. Oh,
If
yeah, there's one.
Most of them that are, yeah,
Oh, no, no. Go ahead, Danielle. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I just wanted to say most of the it's okay. I know you get excited. I love when Paul is excited, you guys. So we don't mind you, Paul. We love you the way you are, so excited and pumped up. So most of the cases that we are discussing today and that you're mentioning, Rabbi, are also very heavy mentally impacted inside of the brains of all of the people that were encountering these paranormal beings or supernatural beings. I also do think because it's kind of scary to also face our being, so our kind, to say there is something out there that it's not us. So also there's a huge judgment. Many of them, from all of the cases that you mentioned, they went through the huge judgment, prosecution, being making fun of and everything, till actually we're coming up to the age now that we're understanding that there is more out there and that we're never alone and never being alone, since I think this planet was made as a part of the galaxy. So I'm wondering, and everybody in the chat, if you guys would like to share, how would you feel if you encounter something, or if you did already encounter something? How did your family or loved ones felt about it? But I really appreciate people that come and disclose the things, because disclosure is something the most hardest uh, that you can experience, especially judgment from your own kind.
Oh, and I just want to say, with your
Go ahead,
last,
Phil.
okay, with your last story, you're talking about the bullet was like frozen in the air. Is that correct?
yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Um, yeah, they it seems like people before they get abducted, they go through the Oz effect, and the Oz effect, everything is just surreal. Like if you're walking, all of a sudden you walk in slow motion. The air feels like jello. The Oz effect.
Oh,
It seems like the bullet being frozen in midair would be part of the Oz effect.
It very well could be.
mm,
The next case that we have,
interesting.
it is Travis Walton, and so
Fire
we're
in the
going to want
sky.
absolutely yes. So that's the 1993 movie that was made about this case. The
Yeah.
case actually occurred November 5th, 1975, in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest in Arizona, in the United States. Travis Walton's initial encounter, he and six co workers were driving after logging work. They observed a brilliant glowing craft hovering among the trees. The description of the craft: it was a large metallic disc, intense golden light, and it hovered silently. The beam incident was Walton walked toward the object. The beam struck him, and witnesses saw him thrown backward. There was a disappearance. He was missing for 5 days. There was a major police investigation launched. Inside the craft, Walton claimed he awakened on a table in a curved metallic room surrounded by small beings. The first group of beings were hairless, pale skin, large eyes, and child sized stature. Walton reportedly fought them physically. Then he had a Nordic encounter. Later, he encountered tall humans, blonde hair, blue eyes, wearing blue uniforms. The spacecraft interior had multiple rooms, dome like ceilings, complex machinery, hangar like chamber containing other craft, and then upon his return, the human looking being placed a mask over his face. He lost consciousness and he awoke near a highway. And for anyone who's aware of this story, his friends were actually being investigated for his disappearance and perhaps his murder. It was very chilling to them and for Travis Walton. And later on, he's probably the most famous of these cases with a movie about him. But even he didn't make huge amounts of money from his story, and generally has talked about it, but hasn't necessarily cashed in with any of these. No person has really been able to change their life and go on the UFO and lecture circuit to the point where they have this immense financial independence. If anything, it has ruined a lot of reputations and caused a lot of the people ridicule. With that being said, Paul, please tell us everything that you encountered with the Travis Walton discussion that you had.
When I talked to Travis Walton over
Yes,
the
please.
telephone, yes, when I talked to Travis Walton over the telephone, everything that you were talking about, basically, he was telling me. What we were discussing, what we really focused on, is having him as a speaker here in California. And of course, we're talking money figures. So he does make a lot of
Hmm.
money speaking engagements. And talking to him, he's the nicest guy in the world, but I could not afford him.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
we were talking money, and for him to speak for our group, HPI Halo Paranormal Investigations, and we couldn't come up with the money that he wanted.
Well, I'm
Wow.
sure that there's a lot of investment that he has to make to travel and such, and he's told the story so many times. But um, to my knowledge, I mean, has he become like a multimillionaire from this? I haven't known him to do that. Maybe he has, but
Yeah,
ge-
yeah.
yeah,
It
but
depends on how many speaking engagements he gets. I mean, um, if you are somebody, an A-list speaker, and Travis Walton is an A-list speaker, he is making some money.
okay.
You know.
True.
Uh, and
If I
I'm
can add
sure.
something,
Go ahead.
Rabbi, about that too. Yeah, thank you. So he did have a experience that we can learn a lot about it. I'm sure many of you guys also have his book. I have it personally, but I heard from many of the researchers like Paul, yourself, and the people that did the study on him that he was one, like maybe one out of the hundreds that would make some money, like you're saying, because many of them are making fun of, like I was saying, mentally they were impacted negatively. They were uh, making fun of. They're saying they have mental illness, something is wrong with them and things like that. But for him, the click did work and he got accepted. The story mostly got accepted. And that's why I agree with you, Paul. Wherever he went, he was a aid speaker. So you're going to pay that knowledge. And yeah, there's expenses, travel goes on, but also he learned how to make a living out of it. So that's something that out of many of the people that experience the encounters, or they were abducted, they didn't. So he kind of managed to cash that. So I agree with you, Paul, with what you say.
And and you think of your A-list speakers, you got Bob Lazar. People will pay money to hear Bob Lazar talk. People will pay money to hear Travis Walton talk. Um, they pay money to hear George Knapp talk.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, people will pay good money. I mean, Ancient Aliens. They
Yes.
just they had a convention and they made a whole load of money from that. And I was personal friends with Nick Pope of Ancient Aliens, and Nick Pope endorses my books. Well,
Mm-hmm.
and God bless his soul because he passed on. But I mean, Nick Pope told me that Ancient Aliens, just at the conventions itself, people are paying good money. They make a lot of money from that.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
Yeah.
Donnie Cho.
Donnie,
Donnie Cho's an A-list speaker. He's
you're
making all,
gonna be you're on the A list. We are very proud of the. We'll have to
Yeah,
share
you
with
guys have
us
to actually
whatever
watch my
Donnie is
show, though. It's
making
kind
or
of
he's
nuts.
speaking. He has to share with us. That's
Yeah.
right, Donnie. You cannot be selfish. You have to share it. That's it, man.
yeah. Yeah, Donnie is probably a secret
Sharing is
millionaire.
caring. Okay, so
Yeah,
you have
he's
to
probably a
understand
secret
that.
millionaire. A-list speaker, man.
In terms of Travis Walton, yes, he is probably the most famous of the alien abductees, along with Betty and Barney Hill. And I I can't blame him. He really couldn't have a normal job after this encounter generally, and there was the opportunity there. But to what Danielle has said, out of 100 people who have experienced or allegedly experienced the alien abduction phenomenon, maybe one makes money on it. Many people are ridiculed. Many people are
Yes.
rejected. Many people have some major mental illness that can result in this. So, but yes, Travis Walton certainly the exception to the rule and how he has been able to perhaps utilize his encounter for a positive in his life. Uh, the next uh, the next case that we have is the Allagash abductions in 1976. This happened in the Allagash Wilderness in Maine, United States. The witnesses were Jack Weiner, Jim Weiner, Chuck Rack, Charlie Foltz. The initial observation: they were canoeing on Eagle Lake. A bright object appeared overhead. The object followed their movements, and then they had missing memory. Years later, hypnosis revealed the alleged abduction memories. The description of the beings: gray skin, bald heads, large black eyes, thin bodies, long fingers. They the procedures that they reported: there was blood collection, skin examination, eye examination, and placement on the medical tables. The importance is that this is one of the most famous multiple witness abduction cases that we have. And as I'm going through these, we should see many similarities: missing time, gray skin, large eyes, and
Yes.
while we don't necessarily know if these are just one species, certainly it seems like perhaps some of these species do share some common traits. And before we move on to the next group of encounters, does anyone have anything to say on that? The similarities that we're hearing in these cases.
Popping in my head, I can think of two alien abductions that are very, very famous. A lot of ufologists are very knowledgeable about it, and that would be the Betty Anderson case and also the Whitley Strieber case.
We're going there next.
Ah, yes.
So that
Mm-hmm.
that that might be something that we just move right into. The Whitley Strieber encounters, these began December 1985 in upstate New York, United States. Whitley Strieber, his background, he was a successful horror novelist. He began experiencing recurring encounters, and the visitors reported gray type visitors, large black eyes, gray skin, thin limbs, human like visitors, nearly indistinguishable from humans, mantis beings, insect like heads, huge eyes, extremely tall. The experiences were nighttime paralysis, missing time, apparent transportation through walls, complex psychological interactions, messages concerning humanity's future. And his legacy inspired the famous book Communion, and certainly was popularized the image of the gray alien worldwide. And I know that that cover of Communion is very famous, and that many abductees say that's exactly what they look like. And Paul, you were referencing Whitley Strieber. Please continue.
Oh, also another type of alien that Willie Stryber saw was these things that almost looked like blue imps. They were little stocky things, very short, and they were all of their skin was blue. So, and I don't know if it was Whitley or somebody else, but they were calling them like blue imps. And
Wow.
Willie Stryber, um, I I almost had him on a podcast show because he's my Facebook friend, and and I would message him and I would say, "Hey Willie,
Oh,
can I get you on the podcast?" And he almost did it, but then he got so busy with some other things, and if I send him a message, I don't get any responses anymore.
I
Well,
actually
he's
find it really
yeah.
interesting about the different species
Well, he's
that
just
actually want to
died.
do experiments on us.
Go ahead.
What happened? Everything's quiet.
Everything just went quiet.
I was trying to talk, but
Oh, go ahead,
I was just
Sue.
I was just simply saying that I'm actually impressed of how many different types
Everyone is
of
quiet.
species, different types of species that was actually willing to do experiments on us.
Hmm.
yes.
So it just goes to show you how much they not only want to find out about us, but just to tinker with us and figure out what makes us tick. Sometimes it's there to try to mimic as much as they can about us. Um, Remember the whole cloning process? That actually the one of the things that scares me because they could actually take any of our genetics and remake us into something different. A lot of them will take their own genetics and our genetics and try to create other some sort of hybrid beings. To what end, I'm not entirely sure, but sometimes that's the reason why they will draw your blood.
Mm,
To Sue's point, I find it interesting as well that there may be hundreds of
that's
types of
scary.
alien species that just interact with humans on Earth, and let alone what we have in the vast galaxies of the universe. Um, while I'm not sure the veracity of this book, there is a book that is available on archive.org, the Internet Archive, just called The Book of Alien Races, that is
Mm,
allegedly, purportedly, and I don't know if it has been debunked or what that even means, but if anybody wants to learn more about potential alien races that may interact with humans on Earth, I do recommend at least taking a look at it. And this is a book that the KGB allegedly documented on at least 100 types of alien races that exist that have been on Earth, everything from the mantis like creatures to the draconians and reptilians, and of course the alien greys. So, for anyone who wants to learn more on this, again, I can't vouch for the veracity on any of this, frankly, but you can find that book on the Internet Archive.
well, they have a lot of things that they do on Earth that's
Hmm.
in plain sight when it comes to having aliens here on Earth. That includes, like, for example, back in the 80s, they started commercialing about these makeups that you can airbrush on yourself like a foundation, but you can airbrush it on yourself. Now we all thought that was for us, but that was actually they were trying to bring that out to make normalize the fact that it exists, so that it could be actually bought and sold to the different species that need to cover their skin. So when things are brought out on the market, you can ask questions on why it really exists.
You know something,
Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting.
Rabbi?
Yes.
Go ahead, Paul,
Yes.
please.
Oh, thank you so much. Um, this is not an alien abduction story, but it could have been, and that was the Kelly Hopkinsville incident, in which the Suttons and the Taylors, two families, got their shotguns and were shooting at these silver-colored aliens, small little things that look like gremlins, and the bullets would actually ricochet off their bodies. And they got the police involved over there and everything else, and they were definitely shooting their rifles at these little aliens. And that was a very strange case. And were those aliens trying to abduct them? And why is it that the bullets were bouncing off of them?
It's an excellent
Shields?
question.
Rabbi, what do you think? It's possible shields, or did they have? Depends
Yes.
what kind of bounce off it was. You know, it's either a shield or they had some sort of ecto type skeleton that just doesn't penetrate a normal bullet. What do you think, Rabbi?
It could be some type of time manipulation, some type of force field. To just give everyone an overview, this is the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, also known as the Hopkinsville Goblins case or Kelly Green Men case. It is a claimed close encounter with extraterrestrial beings that occurred near the communities of Kelly and Hopkinsville in Kentucky. They This happened during the night and early morning of August 21st and 22nd, 1955. Ufologists regarded it as one of the most significant and well documented cases in the history of UFO incidents, while skeptics maintained that there's no actual physical evidence and that the encounter ever took place, and there were reports might have been due to the effects of excitement. But the claims were that 5 adults and 7 children arrived at the Hopkinsville police station claiming that small alien creatures from a spaceship had been attacking their farmhouse and that they had been holding them off with gunfire for nearly 4 hours. Two of the adults, Elmer Sutton and Billy Ray Taylor, claimed that they had been shooting a short at a few short, dark figures who reportedly popped up at the doorway and peered into windows. The Kentucky New Era, the first paper to report on the incident, increased their number the increase the number of creatures to 12 from 12 to 15, and this continues to be the number that was reported. Uh, Concerned about a gun battle between local citizens, 4 city police officers, 5 state troopers, 3 deputy sheriffs, and 4 military police officers from the nearby United States Fort Campbell drove to the Sutton farmhouse located near the town of Kelly. Their search yielded no evidence apart from broken windows and holes in the screens, possibly as the result of gunfire. Residents of the farmhouse included Jeannie Langford, her minor children, and some other relatives of hers. And basically, these people were reportedly maybe carnival workers who were visiting the farmhouse. When officers returned the next day, they found the house empty. Neighbors informed them that the families had packed up and left, claiming the creatures had returned about 3:30 in the morning. So that's a basic breakdown of what potentially occurred. As for what kind of technology that might have been used, these creatures could have advanced skin that could perhaps be able to deflect any kind of shotgun or bullet. fragments or bullets themselves. Additionally, it could be some type of time dilation, some type of force fields. I don't think we really know. Does anyone else have
Mhm.
any type of theories?
Oh, not that I have any theories, but the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter that happened in 1955 also too is connected to a lot of other different things. The military police actually investigated the farm over Fort Campbell, and for the military to intervene like that and to do an investigation like that, it has that story has some type of substance for the military police to be in Fort Campbell. And also, what's kind of weird, I was stationed for a while at Fort Knox, Kentucky, and right up the road from Hopkinsville is Fort Knox. And in 1948, Captain Thomas Mantell was chasing a UFO, and his plane crashed. So, I mean, some people theorize that the UFO somehow attacked Captain Mantell's plane and caused it to crash. And Fort Campbell, which is also down the road from Fort Knox, Fort Campbell is the home of the Night Stalkers. The Night Stalkers are the black helicopters that you see when there's a cattle mutilation. All of a sudden in the sky, instead of seeing like little balls of light, you see black helicopters, and it's almost like they're investigating what UFOs are doing to our cattle. So all that stuff kind of connects, which is really kind of interesting.
Most certainly. We have two more cases to review. Linda Napolitano. This happened in November of 1989 in
From
Manhattan, New York.
Grandizier 12. So I'm wondering, Paul, if you would like to answer that.
What Paul did, from what I read, is that leading up to this incident, there was an unusual aircraft that was appearing over Fort Campbell before the incident. Oh yeah. Um, uh, yeah, people were seeing Fort Campbell's a hot spot. Um, Fort Campbell, some of the personnel over there were seeing a UFO before that event, and it's kind of interesting because those black helicopters that investigate UFO cattle mutilations come from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So there is something strange going on. And also, too, Fort Knox is another hotbed for UFO activity because that's where Captain Mantell was chasing that UFO. And then he crashed and he died. And okay.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, yeah. So now, Rabbi, uh,
Yes.
when you went through all of your list and all the things that we are mentioning, why do you think that UFO is going after human beings? Why do you think they're so interested in our DNA? Is it really that precious to them that they have human hybrids with us, that they mix with us? What is so special about human beings that they're after?
Most certainly, before I answer that question, if I may just close out on the last two major cases. This is Linda
Sure.
Napolitano. This is November 1989. She
Yes,
awoke in the
please
middle of the
do.
night.
Yes, please do.
She saw a blue light in her bedroom. Description of the beings: there were three gray aliens, thin bodies, large black eyes, smooth gray skin. There was levitation. She claimed that she floated from her bed. She passed through a closed window and rose into the sky. The craft was a large hovering object above Manhattan. Aboard the craft, there were medical examinations, telepathic communication, and missing time. There was controversy. Researcher Bud Hopkins claimed independent witnesses observed the levitation outside. And then finally, the aerial school encounter. This is a major case that occurred September 16th, 1994, in Ruwa, Zimbabwe. The aerial school witnesses approximately 60 school children. This was a large group of people who saw this. The initial event, there was a silver object that descended near a playground. It landed beyond the school grounds. The appearance of beings roughly 3 to 4 feet tall, thin bodies, large black eyes, large heads, dark suits or dark skin tight clothing. The reported communication, many children claimed messages entered their minds, warnings about environmental destruction, concerns about technology. The significance was a large number of the witnesses interviews were conducted immediately thereafter, and one of the most studied mass sighting events. And I would like to say as well, uh, we have had the opportunity to have reunions on this case, and in this case, the students who are now adults have all kept very consistent stories. And one last case I'd like to mention as well. Apologies, the Kelly Cahill case, August 8th, 1993. This is near Melbourne, Australia. Kelly Cahill had an initial sighting. She was driving at night with her husband. A massive object appeared above the roadway. She said it was a huge structure, a ring of light, silent movement. The description of the beings, they were over 6 feet tall, black eyes, thin faces, dark form fitting suits. She had missing time, significant period unaccounted for. Witnesses later discovered discrepancies in travel time, and the physical effects were nausea, headaches, body marks, psychological distress. The importance is this is one of Australia's most famous alleged abduction encounters, and it was included in by multiple independent witnesses reporting similar observations. In answer to Danielle's question, I feel that we are basically a zoo for these aliens, or some type of perhaps experiment. And just like we track animals in the wild and put trackers in them and track them with GPS, they may do the same thing with us. They also may be creating new types of hybrids or new types of alien species with us. I don't have all the answers, certainly, but I think that in the same way we're interested in biology and the science of other creatures, they do the same with us. And we just have to realize that we perhaps may not be the highest level of intelligent life in the galaxy or in the universe, certainly, and that there may be higher intelligent beings that find us to be of interest, just like we find other species to be of interest. But I'd love to put that question to the other members of the panel here because it is fascinating.
Also, too, Rabbi, I've done
Makes
investigations.
sense. Anybody else? Please, Paul, Donnie, too.
I've actually done investigations and interviews with alien abductees, and they are very proud to show me their alien implant. And this one gentleman, he had an alien implant on his ankle, and I was able to touch it, move it around,
Oh,
and it would go back to the same spot. There was no entry wound, there's no exit wound for this. It felt like a metallic object on his ankle. So when someone says that they have an alien implant, most likely they do because they're very fast in showing me their alien implant. Another alien implant that I saw was on this one lady, and she had it on her arm, and I was able to touch it and move it around. Um, Also, too, I see a message here from Grandizer 12, and he says Fort Campbell is the home of the U.S. Army's famed 101st Airborne. Uh, yes, I am very aware of that because I was with Op 4 opposing forces, and I taught a lot of the elite groups like 101st Airborne, 82nd Airborne, um, Air Force Special Operations, Navy SEALs, and also to the Green Beret. Um, I taught them the off. I
mhm.
was I was with Op 4, and I taught them the Soviet threat. So and I would say things like the Soviet soldier is and must be considered a formidable foe. We must attempt to understand why and what makes him a good soldier. So yeah, I did off for. I taught all the elite troops, and I was very much aware that the 101st Screaming Eagles, which my uncle was part of, Jose Causing, he was with the 101st at Fort
Oh,
Camp. So, yes, I'm very aware of that.
I actually agree with Rabbi on the possibility that we are not just being abducted to be experimented on, but possibly also we may see us being experimented, but possibly they're checking us to see how we're coming along, as to put it. Um, they also do something similar with the 23andMe and those genetic testings and stuff. They kind of trick us into using that to, in the guise of that, we can check our ancestors and our health or our genetic health. But to come to think, why, if they have the ability to do all that to us, then put it into a kit, then how come that if they're able to do that now, the alien abductions has slowed down significantly? Do you find that interesting, Rabbi?
Oh, most certainly. The entire idea that we've had the human genome mapped for now a little more than 30 years or so and been able to connect every single person on Earth is absolutely fascinating because really we might be able to trace that back to common ancestors of other species as well and create a giant map of our evolution down to the individual. And I would imagine aliens or some type of extraterrestrial or higher intelligent being would be quite interested in that, and perhaps guided evolution or aided evolution, whatever we may have perhaps experienced, and to basically check up on how this experiment is being conducted and if it's along their timetables and if it's occurring in the way in which they feel it should be. And we have to think that Earth may not be certainly the only potential where this is going on. This may be happening throughout the galaxy and throughout the universe. And we just may be one of the experimentary planets where these types of
mm-hmm.
tests are ongoing.
Yeah. The I think one of the things that I was thinking about was that because when you abduct people, they're gonna see your craft. They're gonna see details. Maybe they wanted to keep things more classified, so they kind of stopped all of these abductions and had said, "Well, why don't we present some sort of a kit so that they can see the progress of how humans are doing by sending it away in the mail, which would be a lot less intrusive for them."
Hmm. I'm reading here some of the questions also from Instagram. So I'll pop one question. So here is the question from Ivan from Croatia. He's saying, "Hello to everybody. I'm listening constantly to your show and I love it." Well, we love you very much. My question for the panel and for Rabbi would be, are the UFOs something that we will encounter very soon? So he's asking basically, I'm translating from Croatian, will we see them here
I think he's talking
soon?
about
Like not
disclosure.
anymore. We will be capable of. Yes, exactly. And
Yeah,
he's also mentioning
disclosure.
basically that they will, it's a little story. Like he's saying, Daniel, is it possible maybe that they'll come with their ships and we're gonna see them, and is it gonna be all like one big encounter, like where basically there'll be TV stations and CBC, CNN, and BBC, and the rest of them showing us, here they are, finally they arrived and we have encounters with UFO. What do you guys think? I think it's a great question.
Oh,
I don't know will
yeah.
that ever happen, but is it possible? What do you
I
guys
think
Well,
think?
I
um,
think we're
uh, you
go
want to
ahead,
go?
sir. No, no, you go
Okay.
ahead.
Thank you. Um,
You're welcome.
I actually think a couple things. One, they're already here. They've been here for a very, very long time. The second thing is that we have to be careful because we are happen in the winds that we are scheduled to possibly have what we call the fake alien invasion. And what's actually fake about it is that we are actually responsible for it. Our people are responsible for it. It's not really ET coming down and starting stuff. So we have to be aware of that. And they're going to be using holograms. That's why they've been pushing out holograms for a long time. But their holograms are different than what we know of. They're solid enough to blow up buildings. They're solid enough to shoot at us. They're solid enough to kill us. They can level cities with it. If we do have anything like that come out, I mean, it would be nice if it was a totally benevolent disclosure. But if we don't, then know that it was actually a false flag. So we'll see what happens. If we're going to get some good guys sightings or bad guys, we'll see.
I agree with what Sue has said. So there could be the
I love
potential
that.
of Project Bluebeam in the future, where there is this event that may usher in a global government, may have some type of messianic figure, or we may continue to be experiencing soft disclosure, which is the predictive programming that we have been experiencing since at least World War II or so. And in my opinion, though, in answer to the person from Croatia's question, it's not going to take another 100 years. This phenomenon isn't even in the modern day, even 100 years old, and we've gone from a very skeptic public to over 50%. If you look at more recent polling of people who either think that we are not alone, or think that either somewhere in the universe, or think that aliens are here on Earth and interact with humans regularly. And so, given a few more decades, I think that there will be a global consensus that we aren't alone, that we need to address this topic in a mature fashion. We have to recognize that we aren't the top of the evolutionary tree. In fact, we may be more in the middle, or we could even be towards the bottom of the evolutionary tree. But that's okay. We're moving into perhaps a tier one or type one civilization on the Kardashev scale, and we need to recognize that we need peace on our earth in order to continue to evolve and develop. And it's not something, uh, disclosure is not something that we should fear. It's something that we should embrace.
Mm.
Hmm. That's quite interesting. Anything that you would like to share, Donnie or Mr. Paul?
Well, our civilization, as we evolve, will go from matter bodies to energy bodies. And when we're at that level, we'll be a civilization five category. And that's almost godlike. When we have pure energy bodies, no longer will we need to eat. We'll never have to go to the bathroom. We'll be pure energy. And some of these extraterrestrials are probably at
Wow.
well, even if they were at stage three, they would be beyond us. Their technology would be like magic. So at a level five, there is no reason for them to land at the White House and say we're here. They don't need to. We're like insects. We're nothing to them. They could do whatever they damn well please.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So will they make any kind of contact? I mean, when you look at the history of it, 1952, they were flying all over the White House. And then the politicians, they came out and they go, oh my
Yes.
God, it was weather inversions. No, it wasn't. Tell the truth. Those were extraterrestrials. They were flying around the White House, and they didn't do it just one day, they did it 2 days. So, yeah, they don't need to come over and say, hey, we're here, because they can be anywhere where they want to be. They probably have, and not only that, as Civilization 5, uh, uh, at that level where it's almost godlike, they're utilizing the energy from the whole universe. That's how powerful they are. So that's my thoughts.
What do you think, Donnie?
I mean, I hope it happens. I don't know if disclosure's happening anytime soon. I really don't know. People talk about it all the time, but people also act as if they're owed answers like that from their government or the people in power, which I don't expect at all. So if it does happen, it would have to be done by whatever entities are out there. I'd like to see it happen in my lifetime for sure. I think we all are, actually, right?
I think if we want to
Absolutely.
Oh
actually
yeah,
learn
I
more
agree.
about
I
the
agree.
ET world or the alien world, I recommend everybody to watch the movie Above Majestic.
Hmm.
You can look that up on Amazon.
I've already seen it.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
it was good.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I've been looking
Now,
for some stuff
now I
like
have
this.
a big question for everybody. Yeah, my phone is constantly going crazy about one question. Everybody knows Steven Spielberg. I personally admire him and his work. There is a new movie Disclosure. We know when Steven Spielberg does pop the beans, something big does happen. Either there is a disclosure happening or something big will happen. Did anybody in here see the movie yet?
That
I
movie
didn't.
right
I'm
there
gonna
was
tell
a
you
mop
honestly
up
because I didn't
job.
have time.
That was
So,
just a disclosure mop up job. They were that movie was absolute trash in my opinion.
Yeah, I heard it
I
was
didn't like
bad.
it.
I heard it was
No,
really bad.
Yeah,
they
I didn't.
were. I
I
mean, they
didn't
were
like
almost
it.
taking us stupid. Those who are completely awake and understand what's going on, wouldn't even like the movie. It's just they were trying to push the narrative in a direction that was different than what we're
you
seeing
guys
then.
heard that it was bad. Rabbi, Paul,
Yeah,
did you guys see it?
It's garbage.
yeah, I've seen it.
I have not, but I have heard
Oh,
many
that's quite
similar
interesting.
things.
I'm surprised.
Paul agrees with me. It's garbage.
It's garbage.
The reason why I'm surprised, knowing him and many of his fantastic, movies that did win the Oscar, did win, our hearts, show us many truths from Schindler List, military movies, historical movies, horror movies, and the list goes on. Yeah, it is the new movie Disclosure that we're discussing for a couple minutes. So I didn't seen it yet. I'm not gonna lie that I did, but some people did, and many people are actually criticizing it, and that's what I'm not sure why I didn't seen it. So I don't know yet. But if you guys saying that it's far away from what we should see or what is it about, then I don't know if it's worth it paying a money to see it now. I'm quite wondering. So
Yeah, Danielle,
basically,
I wouldn't spend your
I
money at the
would,
movie theater for that. I
then
would
I
wait
would.
for it to come out on streaming.
Okay, so I'll wait. And you know
Yeah,
me,
just
I'm
wait,
always busy.
wait.
You guys and everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
What's old for you? It's new for me. What is new for you? It's something in the future for me because I uh, don't have that much time to see the things, and I like really original movies with facts and with something that we can learn. Comedy, of course, that we can laugh about, but you know. Um, we have so it's 7:20. We will be closing at 7:30. Rabbi, what kind of other basically disclosure, if we're talking about abduction, um, tracking objects or devices placed into the human beings, tests, and anything that you heard about that you would like to share when it's coming to abduction and
Well,
human being
most
experiencing these horrible things.
Most certainly. Paul mentioned this earlier, but the alien implants, these small foreign objects that are allegedly placed inside a person's body during extraterrestrial abduction, many people believe that these seed sized devices serve functions like biotelemetry tracking, mind control, perhaps, or act as receivers. Um, Really, the history of the claims, um, this this phenomenon gained major traction in the 1990s through the work of surgeon and ufologist Dr. Roger Lear. He reportedly surgically removed numerous mysterious metallic or seed sized objects from the bodies of alleged abductees. I've seen these before. It's almost like a
Yes.
metallic tic tac, about the size of the tic tac mint. And the alleged evidence, proponents claim these objects were found in sensitive areas like hands, feet, and nasal cavities without any entry scars, which further is what Paul had said. Furthermore, they assert that some extracted objects exhibited strange physical properties, such as glowing under ultraviolet light, emitting unusual radio frequencies, or possessing metallurgy that some independent labs allegedly could not identify as earthly. Um, of course, mainstream science and medical experts don't necessarily recognize these objects as extraterrestrial technology. The explanations that are given are that these are identified as terrestrial items. Some people say that these are common debris like glass shards, metal fragments from childhood injuries, or misplaced surgical materials. uh, but generally, I have heard that discussion that the metallurgy of these may not be of Earth. I've also seen um, in documentaries and such these types of objects removed from someone's body and placed on a tray, and it's as if the object moves independently, which I've always found to be interesting. It can like vibrate, and really that's much of the information that I know. I know some of the common places, nasal cavities, of course, in the hand, basically like in this area of the hand, also the feet, sometimes in the knee. There doesn't seem to be
Yes.
any necessarily rhyme or reason as to where these are placed. But in as we discussed earlier a little bit, that we track animals in one way or another using tracking devices. Allegedly, this could be a way that aliens track us. What do you all think? And is what I've said consistent with what you know about the phenomenon?
Yes, I agree with everything that you said. I actually heard, I'm not allowed to disclose the names, but I know people that were disclosing and they had procedures done for certain things like implants and things like that that were done, and the doctors or the surgeons didn't have explanation where they're coming from or what they are. That's what I can say. So I agree with that. Donnie and Miss Sue and Mr. Paul, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with the rabbi.
Not sure.
That we are actually, just being experimented and tracked on and stuff. I think a lot of the tracking now is just progress, and like I said, like the genetic kits that they do on us, that's their way of bringing the tracking us to them for a change versus them grabbing us. I think there are just too many stories, so they found ways to have us bring the experiments to them instead. So that's why you see all these kits coming out. They did a lot of it during COVID
I
too.
agree.
All the swabbing they did.
Mhm. Yes, I heard about that too. I don't know if it's true, but I heard the story about that. So, Donnie, what do you think about what Mr. Rabbi did disclose to us right now?
He put out a lot.
Maybe
Oh,
maybe our genetic material is really valuable in the galaxy. Maybe it's like prime prime in demand, right? That's what I think. I think there's a
Hmm.
reason why they keep
Possible.
abducting us. I think genetically, I
That's what
think
I kept
there's something
thinking
unique
about.
about us. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting.
We are born with all the
Mr.
elements
Paul,
that are
what do
on the
you
planet.
think?
Yeah.
Well, extraterrestrials have their scientists. They want to study us. And so, what better way than looking at our DNA? And DNA is like a book. It has all our history in it. So, yeah, I mean, it would make sense for them to experiment on us and to understand what our DNA is all about and everything else. So if they're from other worlds, they want to know how we became what we are. There was an alien race, and it's probably the Anunnaki who actually. That's why we have a missing link, is because they were manipulating our DNA from the primates, and they put some extraterrestrial DNA in there, and we became Homo sapiens. So, and other aliens want to know what the Anunnaki did to us.
Wow. Yes, that's going to bring us to the next topic. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, know that for the next week, we're going to go into Anunnaki. We're going to go into the star children. We're going to go deeper into the ancient history and answers for today. We're gonna mention maybe Grandizier Stargate. I know many people were texting me. It'll be a quite interesting show. We're talking about cryptic creatures. I have some videos. I have places that I visited myself. It will be fun. Before we let you guys and before we make this very fast hour and a half, disappear from the live stream, we would like to thank Rabbi Roshtal for joining us and where we can find you and how we can support your work, sir.
Most certainly. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all. I find you to be very intelligent, very kind individuals. If you want to find everything that I am doing, go to linktree.com/ Rabbi Rothschild. I dare you to do so. I have more social media than any person you will ever meet. Moreover, type Rabbi Rothschild into YouTube and filter by live. I could not
Mhm.
emphasize that enough. Filtered by Live, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You will find me streaming like a real life Truman Show. Right now, I'm on over
Wow.
25 YouTube streams. Check it out, Rabbi Rothschild into YouTube, Filter by Live. And moreover, if anybody wants to connect with me and talk on any of these topics, or if you would like any type of pastoral support, if you are having issues with your career or with a relationship, or you just need someone to talk to 24 hours a day, so long as I'm awake, and sometimes people wake me up, and that's absolutely fine as well. You can connect with me in Discord, in my Discord, discord.me/rabbi. I'm here to help everyone who would like to be helped, to anyone who needs support. You do not have to be Jewish. You do not certainly have to be an Orthodox Jew. I help people from all backgrounds, all races, all creeds, anywhere in the world. I'm here to do my best to promote peace, positivity, and love.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Please, share this message from Rabbi. Support him and support peace, love, and kindness on the earth. I think we really need more of that, Rabbi. I totally do agree. Mr. Paul Dale Roberts, where we can find your wonderful work and how we can connect with you.
It's very simple. All you have to do is Google or Bing me, Paul Dale Roberts. You'll find some of my articles that'll pop up. Or if you want to see my books, Paul Dale Roberts books. And all kinds of books will come out, printed books, ebooks, and they're all out there. It's all about the paranormal. I also too want to mention that on July
Mhm.
6th, Monday, on Danielle Diva's Dimension, we have a guest named Nick Azevedo, and he will be talking about some of his paranormal experiences, and he had some scary ones. So That's something to
Wonderful.
look forward to. July 6th, Monday,
Mhm.
right here at the Dimension.
Please mark your calendar.
That's right.
Mark your calendar. That will be quite exciting. Paul, you always have tricks under your sleeve. We love you so, so much. Mr. Donny, where we can find you, how we can connect with you. And,
Just find me at my
people love
YouTube
you. So,
channel.
what they can say to Donny and how they can contact with Donny.
Yeah, just find me on my YouTube channel. Donnie Cho says stuff. Uh, try to post every Saturday, but you never know. Things have been kind of up in the air in life, but I'll be posting stuff there soon. But Donnie Cho says stuff is my channel.
And you guys know, you must understand, we love you all. And sometimes, life does happen. Miss Sue, you are our new addition. I love you and admire you very much. Tell me how we can find you and how we can connect with you, my dear.
Well, I am actually on Facebook. People can contact me on Facebook Messenger under Sue McClure. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. I am on Substack. I'm on LinkedIn. Um, People, if they want to email me, I'm at Sue Lightworker at gmail.com. That's SOOLIGATWORKER at gmail.com. Can email me anytime.
Beautiful, beautiful. Uh, of course, Sue and me always chat, and then I chat with everybody. This is Rabbi. This is our very close. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, I just want to say something
Go
too
ahead,
to the
Paul.
rabbi. Rabbi, thank you for so much for being our guest and everything. You have
Please.
some interesting stuff that you really put out, and also too, I meant to tell you, I used to communicate with Stanton Friedman, and of course
Oh,
he
okay.
passed away. And Stanton Freeman and I actually got into it. Um, there was a situation, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it was at Fort Benning, Georgia. Supposedly, the military had a skirmish with UFOs, and the UFOs made all the soldiers pass out, and they abducted them. So that would have been part of your story. All these soldiers, many of them, were abducted by UFOs, and there was a big military cover up. And there was a story. One of the soldiers who I was a friend of, he wrote a book called The Fort Benning Incident. So if you have a chance, try to read that book, because the military actually got into a fight with these UFOs at Fort Benning, Georgia, and me and Stanton Freeman was investigating it because of one of my articles that I wrote about it, and Stanton Freeman got mad at me because uh, there was a sergeant major who claimed that he had some UFO pieces, and he would not allow Stanton Freeman to see the UFO pieces. And then 2 weeks later, he died mysteriously. And the guy who wrote the book Fort Benning Incident, he
Wow.
died. So there was two people who died that were part of it. And then Stanton Freeman died.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Good
so it was
grief.
interesting. So something was
So
going on.
I will now tell you. So yeah, go ahead. So I'm gonna just drop the beans now. So on July 13th, we will have paranormal panel. I already have some guests that I'm gonna keep it as a secret. One just is saying, so basically, okay. So I have one guest already that is confirming. I'm not gonna say who it is. It will be surprise. Yes, Grandizia, we do take a request for future interviews. You can send it, on my messenger, and basically it will be my pleasure to see who can join us. We will have two big shots or maybe three big shots on the panel. So July 13, we're having paranormal panel. Ladies and gentlemen, that you are in the studio right now. If you would like to join or if you would like to recommend somebody, you are more than welcome. Also, I also want to say you can you know me very much, everybody out there. I'm a person that it's not secretive that much, very live my life publicly. You can find me on the Facebook. My Facebook is quite a big communication with my public. You can send me a message there. You can also find my book Magic of the Spirit Lake on the Amazon. I think Rabbi, you will like that one because it is connected to the other side, and it talks about experience with paranormal and curing yourself from the cancer. Also, I want to tell you guys there will be more excellent Gradizia. So just let him connect with my messenger or send 20 of us messages and we will get him on the show. We will see you guys next week at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time on Monday. I have couple of the guests that are coming. We will be talking Anunnaki. We will be going deep into the connection with the ancient aliens, traveling, and connection with the future. So far, God bless you all. Have peace, love inside of your heart for the loved ones. And you know what? Don't forget to hug them because you never know what can happen tomorrow. Love you all in the studio. Rabbi, again, thank you very much. God bless you, my friend, for everything that you do. And we will support you. And I'm sure we'll see you soon. Everybody, peace, hope, love, and happiness. Have a good night. And thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Born from shadow, sealed in truth.